Hey everybody, it's Beth. Welcome to Infinite Garden. Today I'm going to be putting on some Glossier makeup I recently purchased. Some of these products are entirely new to me, like the foundation. We're going to be trying that. Some of them are familiar products in new colors. So I have the Cloud Paint in Soar, which is a bright pink. It's this color right here. So I'll be putting that on. And then I've got one of the new eyeliners in Rococo, which is like a purple plummy shade. And then I've also got one of the G Suit lip souffles. It's just like a dry matte lip, and I've got this in the color Flip. So I'm going to be putting this makeup on and telling you what I think. I've had this makeup for about 2 weeks and I've been wearing it most of the time during those 2 weeks. So this is not a first impressions. This is based on my impression after wearing this quite a lot very recently. So if you are interested in any of these products and you would like to hear one person's view, please stay tuned. I won't be saying a lot about the perfume, but I did, before sitting down, spray some of Glossier's You on, and I've talked about this on my channel before. It's just a really nice, cozy, not too intrusive fragrance, and I don't always reach for it, but when I do, I'm always glad to be wearing it. So I've got that on right now. I'm gonna start by moisturizing my skin. I'm using the Glossier Moisturizing Primer, which remains a favorite product of all time. This was one of the foundational products they launched their brand on, and I love it as a moisturizer for day because it really is moisturizing. It soaks in quickly, and then it leaves a nice finish on the skin, which is perfect under makeup, and it's also okay by itself. It also doesn't do anything. It doesn't have any actives. It's just moisturizer. And I like that because my skincare is kind of specific, and it's nice just to be able to just moisturize, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to throw that out there, that this product remains just like the GOAT for me in terms of daytime moisturizer. And I think that their Stretch Fluid foundation that I'm going to be putting on now, I think this likes that. What I have noticed about this, I've had a lot of thoughts about this and need to stay organized. I have notes, but I have a desire to be disorganized, so I'm going to be wrestling with that. Just bear with me. Oh, I think my dog's at the door. Come on in. Come on in, little choo-choo. Want to be with me? If you have watched my other Glossier videos, I've got a few of them, including an entire brand review. This is where I went through their website right before they made kind of a revamp. It was when they announced that they were going into Sephora, and I did a complete brand review at that time. And it's interesting because the product line up has changed. So that might be interesting to those of you who are interested in the brand kind of history. Anyway, so I finally broke down and tried the Stretch Fluid foundation. This came out last year. I should have reviewed it at the time, but I was actually kind of suspicious and not that interested. And I just sort of discovered the Jones Road What the Foundation and was loving it so much. And I also had the Sublimage Le Tint by Chanel, which is super gorgeous. So I wasn't needing a foundation. I was super happy with what I had. But then I went into a Sephora and I looked at the product in store, and I discovered that Light 2 for me was like a perfect skin match. And that almost never happens to me. Honestly, it doesn't. And that's because I have light neutral skin. You know, I've spent a lot of time over the last few years analyzing if I'm a warm or a cool or a what, but I know for sure that when I'm purchasing foundation to wear on top of my skin, if it's neutral, I'm usually good to go. And that sort of tipped me over the edge, and I wanted to, you know, check out what this was like. So I'm gonna put this on now and talk you through a little bit. So I just did 2 pumps. This is how it comes out of the container. It has a pump, and I just put it right on my finger. Sorry, I didn't get a better shot of that. But that's what 2 pumps looks like, and this is about how runny it is. You can see it's sort of gel-like and is sort of holding its own. It's not running. The Perfecting Skin Tint is runny. You drop it and it runs down your face. This is a little more substantial. And I think that it applies beautifully. I have been using my fingers. I will finish up at the end with a brush just to blend it where it needs it, but I don't find that it is necessary to use a brush to apply. And I like that because that reduces the number of brushes that I'm dirtying, because I do wear foundation every day. Oh, I forgot to mention this. It is $34 for 1 ounce, and it comes in 34 shades. I had to stop filming for a second because my husband needed my help with getting Peacock set up. We're trying to watch the game tomorrow. Neither one of us really watches much TV or sports, but the Lions are in the playoffs and I'm not missing that. So this is now like a little bit later. You can see it's oxidized a little bit. When it went on, it was a little more kind of, I would say, actively browny, but now that it's oxidized a little bit, you can see how it matches. And I generally think this is just a really excellent match, but it needs, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. This is what it looks like against where, you know, it needs to be blended. You can kind of see around my eye, I didn't put the foundation on my eyelid, and that is deliberate. I have other foundations that I put on my eyelids, including the Chanel Sublimage Le Tint and the Jones Road What the Foundation, and I think it makes my eyelids look more even, and I think it hydrates them, and I don't feel that way about this foundation, so I keep it away from my eyelids. Here you can kind of see the way it's around my nose. So in the positive camp with this so far, we have the skin match, which I think is good. I really do feel like this works pretty well. And we have the ease of application. I love that. It's not quite as seamless as the Chanel or the What the Foundation. So I will say, with all of that moisturizer even, I will say that I think in person, and I hope you can see it on camera, I think that it emphasizes where I have some dry patches, and they are there because it is January. I also think it emphasizes my texture. I notice it specifically in my chin, here where I have pores, and around this area. This looks like makeup on my skin in a way that their Perfecting Skin Tint does not. So if you found that particular product to not have enough coverage, this has much more coverage than that. They are two very distinct products, distinct in the way that they feel when you touch them, distinct in the way they appear on your face. So I really hope they keep the Perfecting Skin Tint, because for me personally, my type of skin, I prefer that super light coverage, beautifully kind of finishing formula that was basically undetectable and didn't really change much throughout the day. This product, I would say, is much more like a traditional foundation that a lot of people shy away from. It does break up a little bit, and over the course of the day, I do think it gets worse, not better. You know how like your favorite foundation probably like maybe looks better and better throughout the day? I don't think that's true about this one. So I do think I understand what the mixed reviews were about this particular product. I think they got some of the parts right that induce someone to make an initial purchase. I think the bottle is cute. I think at $34, the price is right compared to what else is on the market. I think their shade range is really good, and I feel like I found a match where often that's not the case for me, and I have to mix in like green color corrector or something to neutralize a foundation. This match is great. I don't have to do that at all, but I think they sort of fell down in the areas that would lead to a repurchase. I don't think the finish is that elegant. I think you could find a better performing foundation for less than $34. I also think in the end, if you don't wear something, even if it is priced moderately, it still wasn't a good value because now you're not getting use out of it. So in short, I'm not recommending this product. I don't think this is fantastic for dry or mature skin. Okay, I just did my eyebrows and primed my eyes. I am going to dip into some of the Glossier Monochromes that I have in a magnetic palette. I do have a whole review on Glossier Monochromes, so I will put a card up to that. Otherwise, I'm just going to use the shade Jute, which is this row here, a little bit of a taupey, light taupey shimmer, and I'm just going to put a little of that on my eyes. The Monochromes, when they came out, the beauty community on YouTube was sort of underwhelmed by it, the idea of just three simple shadows in the same color that don't offer a whole lot of artistry potential. I think that was, people weren't really ready for it. But then I think that everybody followed right along. And one of the things that's so interesting to me about Glossier is that even though it's had some, scandals related to the way employees were treated and other missteps regarding certain launches, I do think that they have, in terms of doing what they do, they're a makeup company making makeup to purchase with the consumer. I think that part of what they do, I think they have remained innovative, and I think based on the connection to the actual, you know, customer. And as someone, so I'm 45, I'm actually just a pinch older than their demographic, but I started buying Glossier right when they launched because I'd been a blog reader, and then I moved to Detroit. I was living in the city of Detroit, which at the time had very little access to Sephora or whatever, and I had to drive about 45 minutes to go up to the Sephora at the mall far away. Now there's a lot of reasons why that's the case, but we can get into that some other time. Anyway, I didn't have that kind of time in my schedule to run up 40 minutes there and back every time I needed something. And so I started, whatever it was, you know, and I was aware of Glossier, and I started looking at their website, and I ordered from them, and I had just a really wonderful customer experience shopping online with them. And I found that because they offered a lot of the basic products that I needed, and because it was so easy for me to receive the products, I became, you know, it became a staple for me. I wasn't buying Glossier products because of any kind of hype or feeling like I was a part of any sort of tribe. So all of that whole rise and fall of Glossier and their brand relevance has kind of missed me. And what I have been interested in with Glossier over the years is how they actually make products that work for me. They work for me in my life, and I appreciate that. I don't always need to be pulled into some space or pulled out of my comfort zone. Sometimes what I really need is a great daily moisturizer that I can repurchase and not have a lot of surprises. That's also part of my life. You know, I can pick and choose when I want to do something sort of exciting or special. And I don't need that for every single moment. Sometimes you just want to find the right thing for you and keep it moving, right? But I think that these monochromes were early to the market, and I think a lot of other brands have been following this. And I think if you follow beauty YouTube, I think you might agree that this type of look is ascendant at the moment, or, you know, maybe like thoroughly front and center. And I think Glossier, I'm not going to say did it first, but they made that statement a couple years before anybody else was making that statement. And I think that's pretty cool. I'm not saying that to like defend or promote the brand, just felt like saying it, you know? Okay, so my eyeshadow's on, and I'm going to try their #1 pencil in Rococo. I've been using this a ton. You can tell I've had to sharpen it. It's a little messy now, so it's freshly sharpened, and I have really been liking this. I find that the formula can hold a long sharp point, and I like that because I like to tightline. So I'm just putting that, you know, under my eyelid. The little tip did break off just a bit, but I also find that it works really well for tightlining. Here's a swatch. This is the color. It is Rococo. It's an apparent plum, but it does have a little bit of brown mixed in, so it's somewhat nuanced. My eyes are hazel. There's a little green in them, and I find the amount of purple in this tone really offsets the amount of green in my eye, and so I specifically have really liked wearing this shade. I like this eyeliner. I recommend it. When Glossier released their Glossier Play line, which is kind of counted as one of the missteps of the brand, I actually really liked the Play line, and I liked it that they were trying some different vibes and different things. I don't think the launch was actually handled that well, but I think there were good products in it. Anyway, there was a colorful eyeliner. I think they might have even called it the #2 or Glide, something like that. I bought a few of those Glide pencils, and they were bad. They dried out immediately. I couldn't get them to go on my eye. Like, I could swatch them on my hand, and I couldn't get it to actually appear on my eye, so I was always like tugging the skin. So I really disliked that particular product. So when they released the new formulated eyeliner, I didn't really want to jump on it right away. It was, I think, an example of a bad product that did prevent me from trusting this product. So I can see why maybe people said it was disastrous. But there were good products in that line, I thought. Anyway, this is good. This is an improved formula, and they do have standard colors like black and brown, and they also have some vibrant colors like a yellow ochre. I think they got it right this time. I do recommend this pencil. For mascara, I'm going to use their Lash Slick in Brown. This is a new shade of a product that I'm very familiar with. I've had lots of lash slicks over the years. Like I was saying, because this was a staple brand for me, I just purchased and repurchased this Lash Slick mascara for years in black. And it was my first tubing mascara, or maybe my first mascara where I was aware that it was a tubing mascara. And I remember I always liked that it felt pretty. My lashes looked pretty and fluttery, but not overly made up. And it felt appropriate to wear to the office, but pretty enough to wear, you know, for a date or something like that. So I was a fan. I haven't had one in my collection for a little while. I did a no-buy, I think 2 years ago maybe. So I'm getting reacquainted with it, and here's what I think. I really like that they released a brown mascara. I love a brown mascara for day, and I wear one all the time. You know, I like the Clinique High Impact Mascara very much. And I was kind of excited to try this in brown. I think this makes perfect sense in brown. I think the kind of lash that Glossier gives you is meant to look natural, but like gifted with perfect natural lashes. So it makes perfect sense to me that they would have a color that was a step more toned down from black. So let me show you here. You can kind of see what these look like. Okay, so for cheeks, we are into familiar territory with the Cloud Paint, but this is a new color. The color is Soar, which is described as a bright, warm pink. This is what it looks like. If you're familiar with the Cloud Paint formula, this is exactly the same. It has a totally blended gel consistency, so it comes out in full pigment, but then it blends away really easily. It's one of the kind of smoothest blushes I've ever worked with in terms of being able to get a nice bright pigment where you want it, and then to be able to diffuse it really nicely, simply with just your finger. You know, just a finger and it's in. You don't have to dirty a brush, you know? So I think it's really nice to have options in my makeup bag that do allow for different types of application, including something that's a little easier. I do love my beautiful brushes and my powder blushes and the looks that you get with those, but sometimes it's nice to just, you know, take an easy path. I still have this much on my hand with my cheeks already pretty vivid, but I've been loving this color. I've also just been putting a little bit on my lips. So that's Cloud Paint in Soar. If this is the kind of blush color that you like, I recommend it. I'm loving it. I've been wearing it basically every day. I kind of can't put it down. And if you've never tried the Cloud Paint formula, I love it. It's just a wonderful liquid blush. So this is how it's looking so far. I'm liking this. Like normally I might even stop here with just a little Cloud Paint on my lips just to keep it Glossier. They have this Ultralip formula, and this is the shade Lucite, which is kind of like an icy pink, you know, and it's a little bit hydrating. So I could put that right over the Cloud Paint and have just this kind of, you know, pinky moment. And this is something I would do all day because it does hydrate the lips. And I can just put this in my pocket and reapply without having a mirror. So this is something that I would do, but I wanted to show you how this G-suit in Flip looks, and I wanted to talk about how that's been to wear, because this is a very bold color. I decided to go outside of my comfort zone and pick a bold color that I know looks good on me. And so Flip was described on the website as a bright, warm pink, and it looked like other colors from my Pat McGrath lipsticks. But anyway, this is a Souffle formula. I'll put a little bit in the back of my hands. So this is like a powdery sort of souffle. So it goes on bright and then blends away like this. So this is what I'm working with here. And I find that it does that on the lips as well. You can build this up to full pigmentation, or you can actually kind of lightly tap and blend away where you get quite a lot of good color payoff without a lot of formula sitting on your lips. It has a doe foot applicator with a very sharp point, and I find that I don't have any problem drawing in my lip line with it. Okay, this is built up to about medium intensity right now, and this I think looks so great. I've been wearing this a ton. It feels on the lips not drying necessarily. It has almost like a silicone-y feel where it's very lightweight. I can feel that it's present for a little while, but eventually it goes away. If I eat, it will come off. And maybe that's just because I'm not a particularly careful eater when I'm wearing lipstick. I know that I'm going to be reapplying. I do find that when I wear it throughout the day, I may have to reapply it a couple of times, but you can reapply it. It's not like those liquid lips before that you'd almost have to completely remove them before you could touch them up. This one you can touch up. After doing that, this is how much comes off on a tissue. Second blotting, still get a little bit more. So it does continue to move a bit. Because I've been testing this and trying to see how it wears throughout the day, that means that I've been pushing myself to wear a brighter lipstick all day long during the normal course of events, which is something I like to do, but sometimes shy away from because it feels like a commitment, you know, that today we're doing bright pink lipstick and we're going to have to like make sure that looks good all day long because we're committed to it. I do find that the G Suit formula does make that possible for me. This product is an ally for me when I choose bright lipstick for a long day. I like it and I recommend it. Just a quick roundup. For the Stretch Foundation Concealer, we have 32 shades, and like I said, I found a great match, so I think they got the shade match part right. I don't love the formula. I don't recommend it. It's $34. The Monochromes come in 10 colors. I have 4. I used Jute today on my eyes. They're pretty good. You probably have what you need in your collection, but I think they set the tone pretty early for the current state of affairs for eyeshadow, and I just wanted to like recognize them for that. The number 1 pencil is an eyeliner. It comes in 10 shades. It sells for $16. It's a demi-matte formula. I use the color Rococo, a deep plum. It's beautiful. I recommend it. I think that's a good pencil. I got reacquainted with Lash Slick, which comes in black and brown. Today I used brown. I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's better than my Clinique High Impact Mascara, but I do think it makes for a very delicate wispy lash, which is different from what I get from the Clinique Mascara. So I do think it's relevant. I like it. I'm glad it came out in brown. 18 bucks. I like it. Cloud Paints Soar, again, it's a new color for me. I've had most of the Cloud Paint colors and I think it's a really great formula that is still relevant to me. I briefly showed you the Ultralip in Lucite, which is an all-time favorite product from Glossier. I do love Lucite. I wear it all the time. I'm very likely to use up the entire tube, which is rare for me. And the G Suit kind of lip souffle formula comes in 9 colors and goes for $22. I chose Flip, a bright pink. I think it's really nice. I've been wearing it quite a lot. You can see how it's wearing as I'm talking here. An honorable mention for the Glossier products that are pretty much always around me, the Priming Moisturizer and Glossier Used Perfume. So those are great. I love them, but I've reviewed them previously on my channel. Anyway, let me know your thoughts below. Tell me what you think of Glossier. Are you disappointed in them? Are you disappointed in me for talking about them on my platform? Do you use them and like the brand? Do you pay attention to what they're doing? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. And if you want to hang out with me again, please hit the subscribe button. I post videos on Sundays. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well out there and I hope you have a great week ahead. Thank you so much for watching. Talk soon.